was good to have baseball back. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Black Spinner Circle. Thank you for being here with us and joining us. Of course, is our co-host Al Horta. How's it going, Al?
What's going on, my brother Andy? I'm doing good, brother. I'm excited about this show, dude.
Yeah, we got a very interesting show. Last week we did Thin Lizzy. Today, we are going to do one of our guest picks. Our guest being Brad Dahl, who's on the panel. He wanted to do a Blue Oyster Cult episode, so we decided to go ahead and do rank our top 10 albums by the great and mighty Blue Oyster Cult. So joining us on the panel here, do you want to introduce him, Al?
Yeah, we got Brad Dahl with his idea of ranking our top 10 Blue Oyster Cult albums. Brad, great idea. Love it. Look at that, man.
Oh wow. That's
a cool picture, man.
Yeah, this picture. I'm sorry. This picture was taken at the Blue Oyster Cult UFO concert at the LA Forum by my good friend Steve Nelson, who he had third row tickets because he had money. We were sitting in like the 18th row on the floor, and man, what a great concert that was! Holy crap, UFO.
UFO and BOC, dude. It
was UFO with Michael Schenker. It was right before he
fucking unbelievable, man.
Went MIA. So yeah, it was an incredible show. But yeah, so anyway, he took this picture and he blew it up and framed it for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
And with the cool Symbol Remains t-shirt, we got Joseph Staub, resident Blue Oyster Cult, huge fan, right?
Yep. Love them. One of my favorite bands, like Brad said. Absolutely one of my favorite bands. And
then we got Travis Parada. How you doing, Trav?
I'm doing great, and I'm a BOC fanatic. I love. They're in my top 10 easily.
And Travis's voice is perfect for this. He sounds like he's in outer space. So
yeah,
that's good for the Blue Oyster Cult.
Travis is a veteran of the Psychic Wars.
Yeah, he's
of 1,000 of them.
He's transmitting somewhere outside of Mars somewhere. So just
he's gonna rework like Mars.
Get that antenna. My brother Andy, man, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. When I was going through these albums, there was one that really stuck out to me that really surprised me that I didn't even think was going to be on this list, but it's rather high after I revisited this album, and I was like, wow.
Kind of like you.
It was pretty dynamite when I was driving to work. I was like, damn, why haven't I been hearing this lately? I was very surprised. So I will talk about that when I get to that.
Yeah. All right, cool.
So another segment that we have on here on Black Spinner Circle, which I absolutely love, is when we go around the table and share what we've been listening to. So, Brad, what have you been listening to? I know that you've been doing a lot of new stuff lately. So what's
I'm still I've been listening to a lot of new stuff, but I'm kind of still trying to catch up with everything from 2023. And something I talked about, I think last time, was the newest Lynch Mob album. And I gotta tell you, I'm pretty disappointed in it. It's just, I expect more from George. Pretty much there's only a couple of his albums that I listen to, and it's kind of like, most of them have got great songs. And this one, maybe I just need to listen to it more. And then the new Dawkins album, for some reason, the production on it I struggle with. The drums are just like too in a bathroom kind of, I don't know. It just doesn't, things don't fit neatly. So I went back to one of my favorite albums of 2023, and that's Sweet and Lynch, which I'm not normally big on Michael Sweet's voice. I respect his skills as a singer, but his tone is kind of a little bit, kind of an acquired taste. But this album is really, really, really good. That's three reallys. The songs are really enjoyable to listen to. The production is A+. If you had that production on that Dawkins album, that thing would be easily 5 times better. So my current spinning and enjoying thoroughly is the latest Sweet and Lynch, and what is it called? It's called Come on.
Isn't it just called Sweet and Lynch or no? It's
Well,
No,
Heart,
it's the second
Heart
album.
and
it's a
Sacrifice.
second album. Yeah.
Heart and Sacrifice.
That's
So
it.
if you guys, if anybody hasn't checked that out, especially if you're a Dokken fan or a Striper fan for that matter, you definitely need to listen to this. It's really, really good. The production is A+.
Talking about the Lynch Mob album, I think the new End Machine is way better than that one, man.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
agree.
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
singer, the new singer they got is phenomenal, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Girish is really, really good. I've been in on him for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
Probably 3-4 years, and it's cool to see that he's getting plugged in with different bands. You know, he did the Joel Hoekstra, his album last year. He did the whole thing, really. And that one, I struggle with the songs on it as far as it's like, yeah, they could be better songs. But you're right. The new End Machine, which is obviously 2024, I can't highly recommend that high enough. So good.
yeah.
As usual, Al is correct.
Nah, man. I'm just throwing it out there, dude, because it's probably going to be in contention for the end of the year, like album of the year. Albums that we always do our top 10. And that's already.
Brad's got his running list already.
I've got my running list.
Well, listen, man. It's March already, man.
It's number 4 on there right now. I've got the Saxon, Firewind, Judas Priest.
That's another great one.
Yeah,
that Saxon one. That Saxon one kicks ass, man.
Yeah,
I love the new Saxon, especially now that Brian Tatler's on board.
Yeah, Brian Tatler, man. That's awesome. That I'm a big Diamond Head fan, so to have him on there,
me too.
It's just fucking killer.
Oh yeah.
All right, Joe. What do you got to share with us?
All right, I got one to do really quickly before I get to my actual what's spending. One, since Brad's talking about new albums here. So far, my favorite album of the year so far that I just got recently is the debut by Whom Gods Destroy, Insanium.
Ooh.
It is
that's out.
Yeah, last week.
That's Jeff Scott Soto and
not Jeff Scott Soto. It's Derek Shrinian and Bumblefoot.
Wait, who's singing on that?
It's a new. They got a new singer.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
What's his name? Dino Jalusic.
Okay.
Yeah. I still haven't. Has anybody listened to his Jalusic album from last year? I
have not. No,
I haven't either.
No, but this just came out last week. Debut album. In the wake of Sons of Apollo, Bumblefoot and Shrinian started a new band, and this to me is what Sons of Apollo should have been for all those years.
Ooh.
And to say that a band that contained Mike Portnoy, Billy Sheehan, and Jeff Scott Soto was not what it could have been is sad to say, but it's true. This is what they could have been.
I gotta agree with you, man. I think it was better on paper than what it actually was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like one of the last shows. The Sons of Apollo was one of the last shows that I saw before like the pandemic, when the shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to meet Billy. I got to meet like all of them except Portnoy. He got pissed and didn't show up for the meet and greet, but they were running long, dude, and like they had a union thing there, and fucking Portnoy threw a fit because they had to, I think, cut a song out, and he just, I don't know, man, he just kind of was like, he was pissed off on stage, man. He was just fucking, I'm sorry, we gotta end early and all this shit, and
oh boy,
he didn't even come out, man. But I got to meet the rest of the band. It was great, man. Billy, I got to meet Billy the first time, which was always like kind of a bucket list thing because Billy Sheehan, come on, he's like one of the greatest bass players of all time, All them guys, man. Buckethead was really, I mean, not Buckethead, I'm sorry, Bumblefoot was really cool. I wish I'd meet Buckethead though. But that was one of the final shows before the shutdown. And the show was great.
That's the last show I saw before That's the last show I saw before the shutdown. It was like maybe a week before things went to hell. Because it was
Sons of Apollo?
Yeah, Sons of Apollo.
Oh, you saw them too? Okay.
Yeah, it was one of the last shows. Well, it was the last show I saw before everything went to hell. So, and they were great. I mean, it was like one of the best shows.
They were great. Live, they were awesome, dude. I mean, I'm just saying, I agree with Joseph, though. I think the material could have been better.
Yeah.
What did they have? Did they have 3 albums? 2?
Just two.
Just two.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
the Psychotic
I felt like-
Symphony and then 2020.
Yeah.
I felt like it was the best fit I've ever seen live with Jeff Scott Soto. He
definitely did very well.
He was really in a good place with those guys. He was just he was and it was right after Kobe Bryant died too, and he was wearing his Kobe Bryant jersey, and he got kind of emotional about that. But still, I mean, as far as musically, he looked and sounded so good with those guys. It's too bad it didn't work out. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So my actual what's spinning, not just the new album I really like. So I was listening to Sirius XM last week sometime, and a song came on one of the stations, and it was a song I hadn't heard in a while. And I'm like, my God, I need to go back and listen to this album. It's an album I've heard live in its entirety. They played the album live. I saw it twice. Cast yourself back to 1990. Music is very starting to change. It's kind of in the air. There's something in the air. And the album I'm about to show you, I believe, is the biggest example of label sabotage ever.
Ooh.
You got a band who had a moderately successful debut album, nothing groundbreaking, but it was pretty good, pretty successful. They're getting ready to write their second album. They're coming into their own. They're starting to feel pretty confident about this second album. They have a pretty good idea of what they want the lead single to be, what they want the album to be called. Mm-hmm. But the label says, no, how about that song that you don't even want on the album? Let's make that the lead single. Let's make the album called that. Let's give you one of the worst album covers of all time. And what you have is Cherry Pie by Warren.
I knew you were going to say that.
One of the biggest examples of label sabotage of all time. If you take the song Cherry Pie off this album, it's a completely different album.
It's a killer album, man.
It's a great album. I mean, the song that came on Sirius XM was Mr. Rainmaker, and that's a phenomenal track. I mean, this album was supposed to be called Uncle Tom's Cabin. One of the greatest songs to come out of that kind of scene. So many great songs on here. Even the ballads, I Saw Red, Blind Faith, their cover of Train's really good. Some other stuff like Sure Feels Good to Me, You're the Only Hell Your Mama Ever Raised. Great stuff on here. You can tell that the band had a lot of faith in this album, and then when the song Cherry Pie happened, they just kind of like hated every minute of it.
Right, yeah.
Even to this day, the fact that they have to basically close every show with Cherry Pie. Every time I've seen them live 5 times, and every time that they play that, they're having a great time throughout the rest of the show. They're having an amazing time. I've seen them play this album in its entirety twice. I've seen them even play the B-side to Cherry Pie, which is actually really good. It's a song called Thin Disguise. It's a really good track. I've seen them play that live. Every single time that they close the show with Cherry Pie, you can tell they just don't want to be there anymore. You can tell they're done with the whole thing. You could tell that if they did not have to play that song because it was so successful, you could tell they just don't want anything to do with that song. And I think that it really taints an otherwise really, really good album that I think a lot of people that are into harder music didn't give this album a chance because of the song Cherry Pie.
Yeah. Well, there's that famous clip of of him talking about how the guy from the label is like, I need a Love in an Elevator. I need like a hit,
Mm-hmm.
They basically
which they had. Uncle Tom's Cabin could have been big.
Yeah.
I Saw Red was big.
Yeah.
I mean, there could have been some big hits all this time. I don't think this album needed Cherry Pie.
No.
And on the previous you had Heaven and you had Down Boys.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes She Cries was pretty big. I mean,
Janie was pretty in that clip, man. He's like, my fucking legacy is like Cherry Pie shit.
Is the video with the giant smile in it. That's his legacy.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
And he should be like regarded as such a great songwriter because he is. He's written a lot of great ones, man.
Yep.
So that's a great pick, though, man.
Yeah, and then the pie fight, and it was just so ridiculous. And then the fire engine, it was just bad, man. It was just a bad video. Yeah. But I wonder, but did the crowd go crazy when they closed with
Of course they did.
You know, they got to pander to.
Well, a certain portion of the crowd that had higher pitched voices than the rest of the crowd did.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, of course, the chicks.
yeah. It's a chick track.
Yeah.
All right, Travis, what have you been spinning, brother?
Well, I got a newer album and I got a classic one. So the album to me that I just can't stop listening to is the latest album from Lucifer.
Yeah,
It's a masterpiece. I love every track on it. To me, they can do no wrong. And I even love that one album before Lucifer was formed from that band, The Oath. You know, have you heard of it? I think it's great. And a classic album I'm going to talk about. Now, I might be probably the only guy who really likes this band on this show. And this band kind of divides people whether they like this band or not. So on my shuffle, Third Eye came on from Tool, and I knew I had to listen to Anemia. So Tool's Anemia is my pick. It's a mess.
I'm a huge Tool fan, dude. So
Awesome album.
Really?
yes, I am.
Yeah.
I've seen them starting in '98 on Ozfest '98, which is the first time I saw them. I've seen them every tour like since then. You know, so yeah, I got all their albums, man. I love them. It's funny with them. I got to be in the right frame of mind to listen to them. But when I am and I get in a Tool mood, I mean, they take me to some other dimension, dude. You know, so I'm into them, man. Anima's their classic, man.
That's
You can't just listen to one. You can't just listen to one track. You gotta listen to the whole thing.
They're an album band.
See, to me, they're a band that I can only listen to one track at a time. I like Tool when I'm hearing like a song on the radio. I could never sit down and listen to a whole album.
Yeah.
Nah, for me, because I'm a fan. They're an album band. Like you have to kind of. They're concepts, really. You know.
We're going to be talking about a big album band here tonight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I saw them in '97 for back when Lollapalooza used to tour as a touring festival.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. And Tool was the second to last band, and they should have stopped them there, but they weren't the closer. The closer was Prodigy was the closer. And man, what a sorry band to come on after Tool. Tool burned down the house, man. And that's it. That should have been it. You could have gone home, but no, Prodigy had to come on with.
I think a lot of festivals do that though. Like they won't put the biggest band last. They want to put the biggest band kind of second to last, and then have a band where just kind of riding out the rest of the festival as people are leaving.
Yeah.
You know.
Festival. I don't think they do that anymore though. I think that used to be like when festivals used to be a bigger thing. At least in America, I think that used to be kind of how they did it. Almost every festival you see nowadays is like the big band goes on last.
Yeah, and Snoop Dogg was also on that bill as well, which was an interesting show. He played early. He played early, and like one of the Ziggy sons was there, and the band James. And I don't know if y'all remember James, but they were like I
remember that band
from England in the early '90s. They were pretty good. But Korn was supposed to be there too, but Korn pulled out because of someone's illness, which was, kind of sorry of them. But but anyway, a really good pick there, Travis.
Absolutely, Stinkfist is one of my favorite songs just ever. I love Stinkfist. I love 46 and 2 or something.
20.
I love that. The title track.
And
Danny Carey is one of the greatest drummers of all time.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
I just heard that Danny Carey is going to be doing with Adrian Blue, and they're going to be doing like a King Crimson thing.
Ooh,
perfect. Oh man,
sign me up for that.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. My coworker actually, when I came into work today, we're both big music. We always talk about music and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, dude, there's going to be Adrian Blue." I'm trying to. It's Adrian Blue.
Who's the bass player?
I think the bald guy from
Tony Levin.
Tony Levin.
Tony Levin.
Oh God, yeah, no.
It's Adrian Blue, Tony Levin, Danny Carey, and I can't remember who else is one more.
Yeah,
Steve Vai. That's it. Michael Lynch. Thank you. Thank you, Steve
Yeah.
Vai.
Somebody sign me up for that. God
Yeah.
I'm
damn.
a huge King Crimson fan.
Holy crap. I need to see that.
I've seen King Crimson. You know, the last I've seen them twice. So when they had the 3 drummers set up in the front, I mean, just insane, dude. They had it was just amazing, dude. I mean, to see them, I always wanted to see them. I think the last time they were touting it as like the last time that they were going to tour. So I don't know, maybe that's why they're doing this now or something, you know. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Michael, thank you, man.
If that comes anywhere near me, my God, I'm going to that.
Yeah. And they're just doing the 380s albums. Okay, I can kind of see that because Adrian Blue's involved in it. He was in the 80s version of it, which I'm fine with.
Oh yeah,
I'm fine with that. That's great material too. So.
Oh yeah.
You know.
I'm surprised Robert Fripp's not going to take any part in it.
Well, I don't know. It's not going to be called. It's not going to be called.
They might call it Discipline.
I forgot what they're going to call it. I don't remember. But
I wouldn't be surprised if they call it Discipline because that's what they were originally going to call that era of the band. They weren't going to call it King Crimson.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But they came up with that album Discipline. All right. Al, what have you been spinning?
Well, listen, man. I mean, I went to Target and I picked up the new Judas Priest. I had to get it.
Ooh.
You know, it's got 3 bonus tracks on it. That's why I picked up the CD version. I'm gonna pick up the vinyl version eventually, but the CD suits me fine for now. It's a strong Priest album. I mean, there's a couple of tracks here. It's starting to grow on me more actually. The tracks that kind of didn't hit me in the beginning, but I think it's a great album and it stacks up with really strong. I mean, for a band this age to come out with strong material like this is just, you know, it's awesome, dude. I love seeing that, you know. And since we're doing a Oyster Cult show, I had to pull out a live album by them. This is iHeart Radio Theater, New York City.
I want to get that one. I can't find it anywhere.
I was at this show. So I was at this show, and it was just in a room where it's a 200-person capacity.
Yeah.
And it was a short set. They only played 11 songs. So normally it's these special kind of radio station kind of shows that I got in, and normally typically they only last an hour, like these shows. But it was filmed. There's a DVD included with this, a CD and DVD. And I'm right there in the front row, man. So you'll see me in there. I was right on the rail. I got in there.
And I gotta watch it again.
Yeah, I was right on the rail, and it was awesome. But you know, the night before, I think it was the night before, or maybe, it was the show before. It was when the reunion happened with all the members reunited and did a show in New York. I didn't go to that one, but I was hoping like at this one it would kind of all would have showed up too, because I think this was like actually the day after, the night after, at least 2 nights after. But alas, it didn't happen. I was kind of bummed about that, but still, I was seeing Oyster Cult, which was great. I'm kind of bummed I didn't see that reunion show though, because now you know Alan Lanier is gone, so it was kind of but I did see the classic lineup anyway back in the 80s. So we'll talk about that when we get to when we start going through albums and stuff. So, but anyway, those are my 2 picks. But yeah, I don't know. This was on Frontiers. I don't know if you can find this anymore.
I was mistaken. That one you still can.
Okay.
The one that I really want to find was they did a show they have a DVD of a show in Cleveland in like 2014, I think.
Okay.
I've got that.
That's the one I really want to get, and you can't get that one anymore.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like these Frontiers albums, you got to snatch them up if you.
I'm really pissed off because Frontiers just pisses me off in general. I really want to pick up. I don't have, as we'll get into my list here. There's a couple that I don't have on CD just because they're so hard to come by. Including, but I really wanted to get the re-releases that Frontiers did of Heaven Forbid and Curse of the Hidden Mirror.
Yeah,
and they're out of print now, and I wasn't able to jump on those. So is this album, and it's been out of print. You can't get it on Amazon or anything anymore. But randomly, a couple a couple weeks ago, it has forever just said currently unavailable on Amazon. It randomly popped up that it said temporarily out of stock, so I bought it real quick, and it just shipped earlier this week. It's coming this week, so I'm interested to see what shows up at my door, if it's actually this CD or not. I'm not getting my hopes up because I know how hard it is to come by. That something that other random CD is going to show up, but I'm really hoping that because I really want a copy of this album.
Yeah. And currently, my copy's stuck in my CD player.
I remember you told that story. It's stuck in your car.
Damn it! I'm gonna get it out though. I have to take the radio out and smash it because I'm planning on putting a new stereo in my car anyway. So I need a CD player in there, man. I gotta listen to this. My fifth. Like I bought this, but I've been streaming it like in my car because I have like an input jack and I have a Bluetooth thing that you can put on the
little
input.
thing you're stuck in,
yeah, and then like my phone goes through because I have a little bit of an older stereo system, but it works and I've been streaming. So, but I need a CD player, man. It's just fucking.
And you need your copy of this album back.
I gotta get that out, man. Now that you say it's out of print, I gotta make it a mission.
I'll keep you guys updated and let you know what shows up at my porch tomorrow. Because I think
anyway,
it's tomorrow it's going to show
Anyway,
up.
I don't want to dwell too much longer. Go ahead, Andy. We're going long already. So
I been listening to this one, Deep Purple. Now what?
Got
That's a great album.
This is a really great album. This kind of harks back to their classic sound, because for a while there they were doing just okay. Their stuff was all right, but you kind of would lose a little bit of interest between here and there. But then when they came out with Now What, it went back to a whole complete album.
I think Bob Ezrin produced that too, right?
Did he? Yeah, he did.
He did the last three, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did do the last one.
Vincent Price, Uncommon Man, all those are great too.
Great album. Great album.
Yeah,
I like Infinite also. Infinite's a great one too.
So
which one?
Infinite.
Yeah, I got that on vinyl back there. Yeah, great. That's a good one too, man.
Yeah, it's really cool how these older bands keep on going back to their sound. I was going to share this one, but Al had kind of stolen the thunder because I had been
sorry, man.
last week, and so I switched it up because I've been listening to both. But this is a fantastic Judas Priest album.
Yeah, dude. Fucking.
It is just.
If people could get the Target version just to get the more tracks,
Yeah. I went ahead and just got the straight up 11-track version.
Okay.
Yeah, is what I went ahead and got. So, all right, guys, let's get to our topic, which is our top 10 albums by the Blue Oyster Cult, who formed in 1968 or 69. They released their debut album in 70. They're from Long Island, New York. And so let's get started. Go for it, Brad.
Oh, me first. Ooh,
yeah.
God. That's a lot of pressure. Okay. My number 10. This is really tough after I got the first three were easy. After that, it was just like throwing darts almost.
Yeah.
So I had to try to figure out, I kind of like played through the songs and okay. So this is my number 10, Mirrors. I know when this first came out, I mean, well, let's face it. I mean, it's not like they did the same album over and over. Every album had its own personality, and it was very different. But I kept, as they moved on after the first three albums, I kept wanting them to do a more harder rock album, and this wasn't it. Although, I mean, it's got some great songs on there. Let's see, my personal favorites. I thought as it started off with Dr. Music. It's like, really? Why Dr. Music? What the hell is this crap? I do like the song, but at the time I was very much like, I don't get this at all. I can't read this. But the song after, The Great Sun Jester, I think it's a fantastic song. I think I Am the Storm is a great song. And the song that it closes out with was that one song sucks. I think that was from what I understand, Al Bouchard did not get along with Tom Werman. And I think he was trying to get them. He must have said something about wanting them to have a hit like the Cars, And so that last song on the album, I'm not
Sounds
the
like
one
the
you're
Cars.
looking for. What?
It sounds like the Cars, yeah.
Yeah. He wrote that because he says, "Well, I'll give you a song that sounds like the Cars." And anyway, yeah,
Mirrors.
that's number 10 for me.
Okay.
Nice. All right. What are you going to start off with? Joe?
Alrighty. And I believe Brad, you're mixing up the second to last song and the last song on Mirrors. The last song is Lonely Teardrops.
That's a great song.
Yeah, Alan
Yeah,
Lanier.
that's a fantastic song. You're right. It's the one before that.
It's the one before that. Yeah.
Thank you. These things are too small to read the print on there.
I have the back of my 5-album set things to read the track listing off of here. So my number 10 is going to be one that I do not have on CD, as I mentioned a little bit ago, and that is 1998's Heaven Forbid. Probably one of their heaviest albums. A lot of really heavy stuff on here. When it came to making this top 10 list, I'm glad we did the top 10 because I don't have to talk any negative whatsoever, except for a couple songs here and there. There are 14 Blue Oyster Cult albums, and there are 4 that I really don't care for. So, ta-da, top 10 list works out great. Heaven Forbid, really kind of great return to form after some missteps in the 80s. They went a whole decade without releasing any albums, unless you count the Bad Channel soundtrack, but which I do not. But this album is a nice return to form. At this point, it is, as some people like to refer to them as 3 Oyster Cult, or 3 OC. It's just Eric, Buck Dharma, and Alan Lanier left at this point. The Bouchard brothers are no longer in the band by this point. But there's some great stuff on this album. I mean, the opener, See You in Black, is amazing. Harvest Moon has become kind of like the lasting song off this album. Even to when I saw them, 2 years ago, they played Harvest Moon. Power Underneath the Spare is another great one. Cold Gray Light of Dawn, Still Burning is another great track. And they close the album with a live version of a song I will talk about later. But may or may not be on an album that Brad is holding up. So I'll talk about that song when I get to that album in a little bit. But my number 10 is Heaven Forbid. Really great, heavy album. Kind of a return to form after a little bit of a misstep throughout the mid to late 80s.
Great pick. Travis, what are you start off with?
Well, I'm going to piggyback off of Joseph and go with Heaven Forbid. I mean, anything that has See You in Black and Hammerback and Still Burning on it, man, it is just to me, it should be a modern classic. And it's one of the more underrated comeback albums, in my opinion. I love Heaven Forbid, and I even love that cheesy horror album cover. I love it. I need to get that on a t-shirt. So that's my pick for number 10 is Heaven Forbid.
Heaven Forbid. Al, what are you going to start off with, man?
Well, I'm going to go. I like this album a lot, man. And it's really, it's indifferent to a lot of fans and stuff like that. But it really, it's in Blue Oyster Cult name only. But I got to go with Imaginos. I got it on vinyl here. I don't have most of my Blue Oyster Cult I have on CD, and it's still packed away in storage. So I don't have really. I have some stragglers around, but I do have Imaginos on vinyl. My buddy,
is that like the original vinyl?
It's the original vinyl, yeah.
Yeah, mine is yours kind of weird. Like the very first song kind of comes in really quiet, and the sound kind of comes and goes. That's one of my favorite songs.
Because I haven't spun this in a long time, so okay. I don't have my turntable set up yet, so I need to set that up.
My vinyl copy was less than good. So
my friend Steve gave this to me. Actually, he was like, he's a huge Blue Oyster Cult fan. I've seen BOC a lot with him, and as a matter of fact, the last time I saw BOC in Staten Island, New York, he was with me on that one. And now this one, now I know Albert Bouchard is and I have the first one, the Reimaginos that he put out, but I think he's put out 3 already. I think it was supposed to be meant as a trilogy, so I think he's done all of them now. I think he released all 3 of them, right, Joe? Right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I only have the first one, and when I went to that show in Staten Island, he was opening up for Blisco as part of the Dictators. The Dictators reformed, and he was the drummer for them. Funny story is during BOC set, I went and I stood back. I was filming it with my phone, but then my friend, I was like, look, I'm going to take a break. I got to go to the bathroom and real quick, and I'm just going to I need to get him out of my seat. So he took over filming, so I didn't have my phone on me. So I went back and stood back by the soundboard, and who comes to stands next to me watching BOC with me is Ross the Boss. So that was pretty cool, man. I was like, damn, because he had just opened up for BOC, he was in a Dictator. So, me and him were just like bullshit, man. And I'm like, I fucking in the back of my mind, I'm like, why don't I have my fucking phone with me right now? I can have a picture with this guy, whatever. But it was cool just to like conversate with him and talk about BOC and how we saw him. We saw them, back in the day. I mean, he saw them earlier, not on than me. He saw them in the 70s. So, that's kind of a funny story. I was kind of like by the soundboard, and Ross the Boss comes and hangs with me. Anyway, getting back to Imaginos. So my buddy Steve, he bought the Reimagine because I bought this with me, and I wanted Albert to actually sign this. Nice. But my buddy Steve talked me out of it. He's like, I don't know, man, if that's a good idea because the band kind of shuns that album. And he gave me the Reimaginos CD. He had it with him. Like, here, take this and have him sign this. So I do have that CD signed by Albert Bouchard. It just packed away somewhere. So, but anyway, I'm gonna put Imaginos at number 10. I really do like this album, even though it's a mess. I like concept albums, even though the concept's out of order. But the Albert Bouchard stuff, man. I mean, he's kind of doing it now the way he really envisioned it. So. But I'm going to give a shout out. I'm going to make Tom number 10 Imaginos. So that's my 10.
I bet Al would have signed that for you. I bet he would.
Yeah, he would have, man. I don't know why I let my friend talk me out of it. But
he's a mellow dude.
Yeah, he's a mellow dude.
That just missed my cut. I love Imaginos. And one of my favorite BOC tunes is on there, Les Invisibles. I love that song.
Yes. Yep. Les Invisibles, yeah. And then, they do, there's Astronomy's on here too, but it's a bunch of different musicians and stuff on here too. So, didn't Bobby Krieger play on here? And, we got Kenny Aronson. We got, God, man, there's a lot of different people on here. Wow. But the classic band supposedly got back together too. But anyway, there's some good songs on there.
Yep.
Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, you guys are way above me when it comes to Blue Oyster Cult. Really, y'all are. I mean, I like the band, so my list is going to be a little bit different from y'all's.
That's okay.
So I'm going to start. My number 10 is going to be Spectra. Is where I'm starting off at.
Okay.
I was expecting a little bit more from that album. I remember when I first started on Facebook, which just about 3 years ago, and I used to host this thing called Drop the Needle, and one of our guests wanted to do Spectra, so we did Spectra, and I've been getting into Blue Oyster Cult at that time, and it wasn't an album that I really was expecting from them, especially from that time. So that's what I'm going to start off as number 10 is Spectra.
Specters?
Yeah, Specters.
Okay.
See, that's the thing, Andy, is you couldn't possibly know what to expect with each album because there was no formula. It wasn't like, oh, this sounds a lot like the last album. Every album was so different, which one of the things I loved about them.
So what's your number 9, Brad?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn a light on in here. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, number 9. Oh, it's The Curse of the Hidden Mirror. Yeah, I really like the Curse of the Hidden Mirror. Here's the I didn't put let's see. I didn't put Heaven Forbid in my top 10 just because even though I love it, I love everything on it. I realized it was not recorded all together. They did some with some guys and then they had enough songs, they put it all together as an album. And I think it sounds, really good. But Heaven Forbid was not Heaven Forbid, but Curse of the Hidden Mirror was like a real band album where they same guys on every song. And I love the continuity of it. And it has some just great songs on it. I thoroughly enjoy listening to it to this day. I think it's also the only one that I didn't buy myself. Somebody gave that to me as a gift. I'll go ahead and name drop too. That was anybody know Mike Keneally? You ever heard of Mike Keneally?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yep.
He gave that to me as a gift.
really?
Yeah, he was staying at my house, and
Wow.
and he went
Like
to
the Zappa Mike Keneally?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he went to buy some CDs, and he came back and he says, "Here, I bought this for you because I know you love Oyster Cult." And it had just come out, and I was going to buy it myself, and I was like, "Dude, that touched me, man. It meant a lot." So that has special meaning to me as well. So
Mike Keneally, it's funny because I was just talking about the last time I saw King Crimson. It was the Zappa band kind of opened up for that. Yeah, so he was part of that. But I saw Mike Keneally back when he toured with Dweezil and Ahmet as Z.
Yeah, Z.
I did see Z live in Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Oh man,
they were fucking killer, man.
Yeah.
Joe Travers on drums. It was Mike Keneally, obviously Ahmet and Dweezil, and the bass player was
Brian Deller.
What's that?
Brian Deller.
Was it Brian?
Yeah, it's Brian. Brian was in that band.
I thought it was. No, you're right.
No, it was Brian.
For some reason, I thought it was. What's the name? It was in Zappa.
Oh, Scott Tunis did.
Yeah, him.
He was originally in the band, and then Brian came in when they did their first album. He did 2 songs on the first album and did the tour. The tour, so
yeah. I did get to see them, man. It was really cool. So anyway, back on track. Go ahead, Joe.
Go, Joe.
But back off track real quickly. I just saw that Dweezil announced his first tour since COVID.
You got to go see him.
I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited
because he's playing up by you, right?
Close to, but not as close as he was. The last show I saw before COVID.
Oh, okay.
When I saw he did when he did the Hot Rats tour.
Oh yeah,
he was the last show I saw before COVID. He's not coming as close as he did on that, but with the topic of this tour, it's 50th anniversary of Apostrophe and Roxy. I am definitely going to that. I will drive several hours to see that.
I saw the 40th anniversary of Apostrophe in New York City. I can't believe it's been 10 years already.
Yep. He's not even coming to the state of Texas.
He's not even coming to Florida either.
Yeah,
I'm
not even close to here.
Yeah.
He'll probably announce a second leg of it. I'm sure this is just the first leg since COVID. I'm surprised it's been this long since he's toured. It's been 5 years, so I'm excited.
Well, he was on his podcast saying that he just wasn't. The money just wasn't there. It's a lot of money to tour, and right now it's feasible for him. To tour. So he just kind of sat out for a while. But now I guess he's getting the itch to play again, which is good, man. I mean, he's a phenomenal guitar player, man.
The one thing that really made me smile, though, is that the official Zappa website shared the announcement and everything. And that means
something's cool in between them, so.
That really made me happy. And
I always watch Ahmet's podcast, too, on YouTube. Yeah. And he never badmouths his brother, man. He speaks highly of him. So
I think there was a lot of bad blood when Gail died. I think that was what it was.
Yeah.
I'm glad that that's kind of all worked over, and I think the Universal deal was what really did it, because Dweezil made a statement when he announced the tour, and then when the Zappa site shared it, he made some he made some statement saying he really thanks Universal for everything they're doing for his father's legacy. So, all right, back on track. So my number 9 is one that Brad has already talked about, and that is Mirrors. Kind of like Brad said, it's a weird vibe from this album. It's very different from anything else they did in the 70s. It's very far away from what, especially like you said with the black and white albums. But I still love a lot of this. The one track that I really hate off this album is Moon Crazy. I hate that song.
That's Joe's song. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Dr. Music is pretty it's a weird opener. I agree. Which is funny. That's actually what they opened with when I saw them live was Dr. Music.
Yep.
But otherwise, getting back to the track that I mentioned, they did a live version of On Heaven Forbid, is my favorite song off this album, which is In Thee. Great little kind of jammy acoustic number. Really, really love this song. Somehow, Ian Wadley does not like that song. So,
I love that song.
Yeah, it's great.
What are you doing wrong with your life, Ian? In Thee is an amazing track.
Well, did you watch Ian's ranking of BOC albums? If you haven't, go on his channel and watch it. I mean, I watched it and I was kind of like blown away by like the way, not blown. I mean, I was surprised. I don't know when he came into BOC. I must have missed that maybe in the video or something, but I don't know, man. Like, I mean,
whose channel is this?
His ranking.
Who?
What's that?
Whose channel are you talking about?
Wait, who are you talking about just now? You were talking about.
I said Ian.
Oh, Ian, not Ian.
Mick.
I'm talking about Mick Watkins.
He did change his ranking. He did.
Okay.
He said that on the episode. He changed his ranking from what it was a few years ago.
Okay, all right. I watched his old video.
There was one particular album that came up a lot in his ranking.
Yeah, but I was surprised at like his ranking. Man, I was like, holy shit. I don't know. So anyway, Mick, if you're watching, you're awesome. I love you.
Yeah. So yep, my number 9 is Mirrors.
All right, cool.
All right.
I got all the liner notes now, so I can.
Awesome.
All right, Travis.
All right. My number 9 is the latest album, The Symbol Remains. Again, I love it. All these albums on my list, I love. I have no issues with them. They're just, it's just my personal preference, and I love Box in My Head. I love my God, Nightmare Epiphany. What a great song that is, right?
Yeah.
I love that tune. I love The Alchemist. I even love Florida Man. That's a great song.
Florida Man.
Tainted Blood. Are you kidding me? Oh, yeah. It's just another great. They released 2 great comeback albums. You got Heaven Forbid and then The Symbol Remains. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And that was definitely my pick for 2020 as the best album to come out that year. Yeah.
All right, man. You good, Trav?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Is that voice too loud? I'm sorry.
No, he was just asking if you were done talking about that.
No,
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
All right. Brad showing off some classic pictures there.
Yeah.
I thought it was showing the Symbol Remains for a second.
Yes, definitely.
My number 9 is going to be piggybacking off of Joe and Brad. It's going to be Mirrors. I'm not really going to say much, or they've said pretty much everything. But I like that album. Just some good tunes on there. It makes my top 10. It's better than a couple of albums of theirs, so it's definitely in my top 10. So it's number 9 for me. That's all I'm really gonna say because you guys pretty much said it all. So go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, my number 9 is going to be Secret Treaties. Yes, I know that this is highly regarded as one of their top ones, but for me, there's others that I really like more.
He's pulling a Mick Watkins here, man.
I'm about to pull one too.
Probably going to surprise a lot of people what I've got coming up, but my number 9 is going to be Secret Treaties.
Yeah, it's a great. Fucking love that album, man.
All right, number 8, Brad.
Wait, Andy, what's your favorite song on that album?
Probably astronomy.
No,
KG Cretans?
KG Cretans. That's going to be it.
No, I do like Career of Evil.
Yeah.
The way
Great
the album
one.
starts.
Great one.
Oh, great song.
I mean, it starts off great, but then it just starts to tail off, where it just doesn't have enough variety for me
Huh.
with the sound.
Yeah, that might be the production. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit more about that later on.
Side 2 is my favorite of that album.
Ooh.
All right, number 8, Brad.
I need to be better prepared here. I apologize, you guys.
Oh, you're
Okay,
fine.
number.
It's your damn idea. God damn it.
I know. I'm a freaking bozo. Oh wow, I had Imaginos here. There we go.
There you go.
Okay, this is an album. I've hung with a lot of BOC people. Back in the early days of the internet, there was a chat list with it was combined with Hawkwind and Oyster Cult. And
That's a strange combination.
it was a strange combination.
Yeah.
There was a weird history behind how that happened, but that since that back from the old days, from the 90s, that fell apart. But cool dudes. But everybody there hated this album. I mean, everybody just categorically just hated this album. But I got to tell you that, and my wife Shelly, she'll tell you this is one of her favorite albums, and I enjoy the hell out of it too. And it's Club Ninja. And I'll tell you,
First tour I ever saw them on.
you're one of those guys that hates it.
One of
Okay.
them.
That's fine. That's fine. You can hate
It's
it.
not in his top 10. That's why.
Yeah, it's not in his top 10.
Perfect Water rules.
That song does
Yes.
rule.
White Flags, Dancing in the Ruins is great. I think probably the two, what's his name? Bob Callaghan Jr. songs are probably the goofiest songs on there. And I get why they put them on there, trying to get some radio play or something. Yeah, Perfect Water is a Spy in the House of the Night. Come on. How about When the War Comes, Shadow Warrior, and Madness to the Method? That to me is like just a classic song. It just builds. It's great. The piano part in it is just amazing. So I would say if you're going to listen to one song off this album, listen to that one. It's the last song on there, Madness to the Method, and tell me if that is not a great song. So there you go. Club Ninja. It's what Shelley calls one of our road trip albums, because back in the day when you just take all the CDs you could fit in the car,
Right.
When we go on a road trip, this was always one of them. So,
Interesting.
That's the first time I ever saw them, was on that tour opening for Kiss on the Asylum tour.
really?
That's an interesting bill.
Here in New Jersey, man, 1986. It was my
Awesome.
second time seeing Kiss, because I saw Kiss December of 85 on the Asylum tour, which was my first concert ever. And then I saw them the following year when they came back through New Jersey, and BOC was opening up for them. And that was the album that was out at the time. So I got to see BOC in the 80s. So
How was BOC?
they were great, man. I mean, all the time. I mean, I think I've seen BOC, at least 25, 30 times maybe now, by now.
Sure.
And I mean, they've never let me down. Like, they've always were great live, man, when I saw them, so I thought, it's just weird. Like, they're opening for Kiss, and, way back in the early days, Kiss opened for them.
Oh yeah.
So now it's kind of like the tables are flipped. But, hey, listen, man, I mean, that's just the way it is sometimes, man. But
BOC went through some really, really hard times. I mean,
yeah, they did, man.
I saw him playing in really tiny clubs back in the day. So the Heaven Forbid album, when that thing came out, they were playing in little tiny clubs, and it was still cool. But it's like, wow, how the mighty have fallen.
I feel the same. I feel like they had the same trajectory kind of as like Cheap Trick, big in the 70s, playing arenas. And then as the 80s came in, they started kind of slipping off, man. I think Cheap Trick kind of, I think they lasted a little longer though. Like, I mean, when Lap of Luxury came out, I mean, they came back kind of big.
That was a big hit for them. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big hit for them. So, But still, man, I mean, they've opened up for like fucking everybody, man. It's like, jeez.
I was interested when you what were you gonna say, Travis?
No, they should be headlining. They should be headlining.
Of course,
to this day.
of course. Us as huge fans, we want our favorite bands to
to be the best.
big, man.
To be heralded as the best, or at least have their own tours and not open up for like Rod Stewart lately. They've been opening up for Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't melt right.
Yeah.
I mean, I got nothing against Rod Stewart. I do like Rod Stewart's music, but not with Cheap Trick. I mean, that just doesn't mishmash well. Joe, are you at number 8?
Yeah, I'm about to go to my number 8. I was interested when Al said that he saw them in mid to late '86. Of what the lineup of the band would have been by that time. And I'm really interested to see. This is a weird mishmash lineup.
Yeah.
It's just Eric and Buck.
That's what it was exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's Tommy Zavonchek on keyboards, John Rogers on bass, and Jimmy Wilcox on drums. Yep. That's a weird. Well, it was a lineup that only existed for like 8 months.
Yeah, I mean, me being a young guy though, like I didn't really know. I didn't really know a lot about BOC besides like whatever I heard on the radio, which obviously is the 3 hits.
Yeah.
But so like the lineup, it was one of those things. Like I wasn't immersed into BOC, so I wasn't like I was glad I was seeing them, but I didn't know like anything about lineup or anything. I just knew Buck Dharma. And I knew, like, Eric Bloom, so it was cool, My older brother took me, so. Yeah. I mean, I was there. I mean, truth be told, I was there to see Kiss, so, I mean.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I was such a big Kiss fan, so. Anyway.
Why wouldn't you be? Yeah, it's good.
All right, so my number 8. So I believe in the past on this show, we've all said we're allowed, like, one controversial opinion per episode.
I never said that.
This is my controversial opinion for the episode.
All right.
My number 8 is Agents of Fortune.
Okay.
That's not controversial.
This album is not as good as its lead single. I'll put it that way. I think when you hear "Don't Fear the Reaper" and you go and listen to this album, it's not what you're expecting. I think "Don't Fear the Reaper" is far and away the best thing on this album.
I don't agree with that, but that's fine.
Okay.
Controversial, remember?
I think there's a lot of great tracks on this album, but I mean, any album that ends with Debbie Denise can't be too high on my list.
That song's awful.
But no, I mean, there's some great stuff on here. True Confessions, Revenge of Ear Gemini, Sinful Love, Tattoo Vampire, Tenderloin's amazing. Some great stuff, but it's kind of when you hear "Don't Fear the Reaper," it's kind of misleading as to what the album is.
That's funny because when I bought it, when it first came out, and I dropped the needle on it, when it came to "Don't Fear the Reaper," I was like, "What the hell is this?" How is this on a Oyster Cold album? And now look at it. Yeah. So, anyway, keep
going. But I think I love the way that a lot of their albums flow, and I think this is one of theirs that I have the hardest time listening to as an album. There's a lot of songs individually that I go back to on this album, like a lot of the ones I mentioned. The only song that I truly dislike on this album is Debbie Denise, but as an album, I don't think it works as well. I just don't go back to it as often as an album. There's a lot of albums. In fact, there's 7 albums that I go back to more. But if it's on my top 10, it still means it's a great album. So my number 8 is Agents of Fortune.
All right. Number 8, Brett. I'm sorry, Travis.
Well, I'm going to stir the pot. It's time for me to stir the pot even further now. Tyranny and Mutation.
Oh man,
I'm sorry, Travis. You're breaking up there. You're breaking up.
No, let's not get it in the cult rock era. Let's not get it twisted. Let's cut the deck. I love this album, but it's my least favorite '70s outfit from DOC.
Okay.
It starts off great. The red and the black, Hot Rails to Hell, 7 Screaming Bizbusters. Oh my god! But I don't like Teen Archer. I don't like Ice Dog. I love OD'd on Life Itself is great, and I love the last track, Mistress of the Sand and Salt. Quick Line Girl, I love that song. But it's my least favorite from the '70s, but I still love it.
The oxygen's really thin up there in space, man.
Yep.
I'm joking, man. No, well, listen, man. Everybody, that's like Brad said before, man. I'm
Did you
sorry.
take your radiation pills?
No, dude, listen, man. Everybody's different. That's the beauty of this, is everybody has different opinions and stuff.
Different point of
I just
view.
happen to think your opinion is wrong, but
Make sure you listen to number 6.
no. Anyway, so my number 8, man. I'm gonna go with Symbol Remains because I love that album. It's stuck in my goddamn CD player in my car. So whenever I listen to a CD in my car,
He's heard it a lot, folks.
dude, it's always that album. So I know that album a lot, like the back of my hand now, because I've heard it so many times. But no, it's a great album. I mean, Richie Castellano really injected some life into this band, and then really, because I think he was really the one that talked them into doing a new studio album. They had no interest in doing anything new, man. And I think with him being in there and just wanting them, and he bought out great material in that, man. Like they wrote, I love this album, man. I think it's one of the best, like, strong albums by a classic band, later on in their career. So,
Yeah.
So I'm going with Symbol Remains as my number 8. Yeah, a funny thing, real quick, man, about Richie Castellano. I was at a club show seeing Lacuna Coil years ago, and I see somebody in a Blue Oyster Cult shirt. He's with some girl or whatever, and I walk up. As I'm walking past him, I'm like, "Hey, man, fucking great shirt, man," And then as I'm walking past him, I'm like, I just kind of do a double take. Right? It's fucking Richie Castellano. He was there seeing Lacuna Coil with his girlfriend. So I turn around. I'm like, wait a second. He starts laughing. I'm like, you're Richie, right? And he's like, yeah. So I'm like, what's up, man? So we were talking for a little while. It was so funny, man, because he had a Blue Oyster Cult shirt on. I'm like, walking past him. I'm like, great shirt, man.
Now, Al, tell me you got to have a picture
Well,
of
by
this.
the way, you're in the band. Anyway.
I love the
It's like walking past Yannick Gers wearing an Iron Maiden.
Well, true. Yeah, I mean,
He wears nothing else.
Nah, Richie's good for that band, though. He's talented, man.
Great.
I think he started off.
aside.
I think he started off on bass in the band, and then
Yes.
switched to guitar. So
aside from the original 5, he is the only other one that I would consider a true member of Blue Oyster Cult. I think he and Sandy Pearlman are the 2 most important figures aside from the original 5 band members.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
and Brad, man, you saw UFO and POC back in the 70s. I saw them in the mid 2000s in New Jersey. They toured again together.
Really?
And UFO still had Jason Bonham on drums at that time.
Oh, okay. All right. That's when they first got Vinnie Moore in.
Yeah, Vinnie Morris
Right.
was so they were back and so it was cool, man. It was cool seeing both of them because I never actually seen UFO live, so that was my first time seeing them, and
cool.
I loved it, man. It was great. So great double bill.
Yeah.
Was that when You Are Here came out?
What's that?
Was that when You Are Here came out?
Yes, I believe that was the one. Yeah,
Nice.
that was the album. Good album too.
Yeah, it is a good album.
UFO's another band where the later albums they came out with some strong material, man. Really good stuff. So
Hey, well,
I
that's
even
great,
love
man. We need to do a
the
UFO
covers
show.
album.
yeah, there we go.
I even love the covers album. I think that was pretty good. the Salentino cuts.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
Simple Remains my number 8. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, a lot of these classic rock bands from the 70s, well, 60s and 80s, they're coming out with really good, strong albums because they're going back to what their fans love, which is their sound. And speaking of, because my number 8 is also The Symbol Remains, but also April 12th is a new Blue Oyster Cult album called Ghost Stories.
Yeah, I can't wait to get
That's
that.
coming
A
out.
new old album.
I can't wait to get that,
What do you
man.
mean by that?
I have it pre-ordered.
What do you mean?
I ain't letting Frontiers fool me no more.
So I'm going to go with The Symbol Remains for my number 8 as well.
Cool.
Number 7, Brad.
Okay, I'm ready this time. This is the album that I was kind of hoping for earlier, a few years earlier anyway. It's like this is a return to really rocking. And even though it didn't really, it didn't really have any hits or anything on there. It had some just great songs. And of course, Martin Birch producing, I believe. And yeah, I mean, Black Blade. Oh my gosh, what a great song! Monsters following it up. Divine Wind was great. The whole thing. Marshall Plan is kind of weird. I mean, it's a goofy song, but I'm okay with it. The bad thing for me is it's the first time that I missed a tour of theirs since On Your Feet or On Your Knees, because I was in the hospital when the show happened. I had to give away my tickets. There was no resale back then, Al. So I gave away my tickets to somebody, and it was at Poly Pavilion, UCLA, and it was Blue Oyster Cult with Molly Hatchet warming up. So that's my good chance to see Molly Hatchet. But anyway, I really enjoy listening to this album, and there you go.
Cool.
Yeah, you got me into that album, Brad.
Did I?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
I think you had mentioned it a while back. And
Awesome.
I'll talk about that a little bit later in the show.
Cool. I can't wait to hear about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joseph. Your turn.
Joseph.
Number 7.
Number 7.
Symbol Remains. Like you guys have all said so far, I mean, so far it has still yet to be topped as my album of the 2020s. I think it's the best album released this decade so far.
Wow.
It is my.
That's pretty high praise.
It's in my top 5 of albums released in the last 10 years, probably. It's getting up there. Nothing's knocked Firepower off the number 1 spot yet, but there's some stuff that's getting up there, and that's one of them. I mean, it's just such an amazing comeback album, and like you guys said, Richie Castellano had so much to do with it. He really is the fuel behind it. Tainted Blood is my favorite song on the album. Richie through and through. Box in My Head, That Was Me, great track. The Alchemist, there's so many great tracks on this album. And as I said, hoping that it shows up on my doorstep tomorrow. Finally, we'll see, and I will keep you all updated.
We'll see what comes in, right?
We'll see what's in the package and what condition it's in when it gets here.
Travis, what's your number 7?
All right, number 7, Cultosaurus Erectus. Again, an amazing album. It kicks off with Black Blade. Fucking Black Blade, man.
Woo.
Oh my god. And then it leads right into Monsters, where I love that kind of jazz lounge bit in between the heavy parts. Divine Wind, Unknown Tongue, Lips in the Hills.
Yeah, great.
I can't get enough of it. It's a great album. I love it to death.
All right, cool.
All right, Al, what's your number 7, man?
My number 7, I'm going with Spectres. Now we're getting into albums. It's just like I'm really strong, man. I mean, it's just So Are You Ready to Rock? Celestial, the Queen. I mean, I love this album a lot. I love the album cover too. Album cover is really cool.
Oh yeah.
But it was tough. Like these kind of middle of the 10. Like, what do I rank them? I mean, my top 3 was actually pretty kind of easy for me, like Brad said. And it's just kind of like these are kind of, my 10, 9, 8 kind of were a little easy too. It's just kind of these middle ones they could shuffle. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, exactly.
You know, so I mean, today, as of today, Spectres is going to be my number 7. Again, I love the album, man. Going through the motions, kind of cool poppy tune. Still a great song though. You know, Nosferatu.
Oh,
you know, I mean, here's a band.
Great song.
I mean, here's a band that like really were like a cut apart from like a lot of other bands. I mean, the lyrics, man, were very intelligent. They touched on a lot of really cool subjects, man. I mean, and there was no bands writing lyrics like that, really, man. It was like very different. I mean, you know, it was just there, you know, just very intelligent, man. Very well thought out concepts, and I mean, they wrote about all different types of stuff. I mean, the cult and vampires and fucking
outer space stuff.
Everything. It's just I
mean, who else is writing about zombie Joan Crawford?
Yeah, I mean, who comes up with this stuff,
Christina.
Yeah. Just killer, man. I love their lyrics, man. Their lyrics are really awesome. So that's really one of the things I love about. One of the many things about Blue Oyster Cult I love. So, and yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, what's funny, Al, is, back in the 70s, I played a lot of these songs in bands I was in, and we could never figure out what the words were. You'd listen to it. And so we just did the best we could. But in each album back then, at the very bottom, there had a thing that says, if for lyrics, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to this address.
Yeah.
So okay, we did it. And it came back with this really weird printout. I mean, the text was just awful. It was like a first generation computer printout. And but it was the lyrics for, the first 4 or 5 albums. We were like, holy crap, we were so wrong on all this stuff. It was
fucked up. It was a fucked up dot matrix fucking printer and shit.
Yeah. And I mean, it was totally, had a lot of.
That was running out of ink.
I wish I still had that.
That's funny.
But that's my number 7, Spectre. So go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, my number 7 is when we started the segment called now
2 hours ago.
Now Spinning. Joe was talking about the release of the debut album being done live, and I heard it. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I thought it was great. So I went back and I revisited the debut album, but it wasn't as good as that live album that came out. It didn't grab me like that. So I'm going to go with their debut album as my number 7. The debut album by Blue Oyster Cult. It's really good, but I really enjoyed the live album better than what they did here. And in fact, I got that in my cart that I haven't checked out with yet. They keep on sending me, excuse me, sir, when are you going to check out?
Andy, you better do it. Frontiers might get you too.
Right. Sir, you can't be walking around the store without buying anything.
But you better hurry up, Andy. You don't want Frontiers to get you too.
I keep on skipping in and keep on getting different things.
Don't do it. Get it. It's important.
Yeah.
No, you got to buy it so that they release the other 2 quicker.
Yeah. Before I run out of time. All right, number 6, Brad.
Yeah, before we go on, Andy, I got to agree with you on the live aspect. That's the thing about Blue Oyster Cult. It was the first band I ever saw live. It was right after they released On Your Feet or On Your Knees. It was Ted Nugent, Kansas, and Blue Oyster Cult. And their live presentation of these songs, it's not like they tried to duplicate them. I mean, they did live versions of the song. Anytime we'd ever play one of these songs, the first few albums, we always say, which version are we going to play, the studio version or the live version? But the live was what I really liked because it was more guitars. Yes. Yeah. More. I mean, it was very much a guitar band. And even though the studio stuff is still guitars, the guitars don't sound like, you know what I'm talking about, Al. They don't have the tone that we were looking for in our youth. The really
Kind of like
heavy,
the early Kiss too, until Alive came out.
yeah. They just didn't have the heavy guitar sound, and so seeing them live on your feet or on your knees, that's what really sold me on the band. So Andy, you're not wrong. Those guys, even at the age of almost, in their late 70s, doing that very first album live, it's really good. Really good. Yeah. So you're not wrong. All right. So number 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not controversial. I kind of, I agree with Joseph on this one, that there's the gatefold. I mean, this album, this is where things really changed for me with this band. I mean, when this came out, the first 2 songs, I was like, especially ETI, holy crap, what a great song. Still one of my favorite songs today.
Particularly the version on Some Enchanted Evening, I would say.
I see the live version. Yes, I've played that live version many a time, more than studio. We've actually morphed it too, where it's like, hey, we like the guitar solo out of the studio version. Let's put that in there, and then we'll do the ending of the live version. I really didn't like this when it first came out, and of course learned to love it, especially after seeing them play these songs live. When I went and saw them on this tour, it's like it all just made sense to me then. It's like, that's what that song's supposed to sound like. And so you're right though. There's some issues with this album. Debbie Denise especially. So we'll leave it at that.
Weren't BOC in the 70s live, weren't they innovative with like lasers and stuff live?
That album, I believe that was the first, because they made so much money with Don't Fear the Reaper, they decided to put it into the show. And so somebody came up to them with this idea of this laser show, and it was super expensive. I think it blew all their money on toting these lasers around, and they had to have these special technicians. And the first time I saw them, they actually brought the lasers down into the crowd, which that became a no-no after that.
Because if that goes in somebody's eye, they can blind somebody.
Yeah, but I'm telling you what, man, it was so badass, because there's so much smoke in the arenas back then, because everybody smoked, and everybody was smoking stuff, Yeah. So I mean, the lasers, when they get down in smoke, it was just, it was so 3D. And if you got inside, like one of those prisms or something, the laser hitting you, you felt like you were inside this tube going right to the stage. It was, and I was not somebody smoking stuff. Okay. I was a very good young man.
Yeah.
Good Mormon boy. Didn't do drugs.
The contact high took care of that.
Yeah, not really. I got to tell you, the very first time I saw them, 75, and I was, 15 years old, and leaving the concert, there was this guy passed out on the floor in a pile of vomit. And I looked at him and I was like, dude, I just saw like the greatest thing I've ever seen in my whole life, and you missed it. Even if you did see any of it, you're not going to remember it. And I thought, God, you're just wasted. You're wasted, man. So I was so anti-drug. I was what you would call in the later days straight edge. I was very much. When I go to concerts and there'd be people passing the doobie around, I go, no, it's cool. And they would like, no, dude, here, come on. And my friends around me would go, don't give it to him. Don't give it to him. And the guy would insist. So he'd give it to me, and I take it and throw it. And I never got my ass kicked. I think it was at Anaheim Stadium where Oyster Cult was playing. I believe ZZ Top was the headliner of that thing. And somebody was insisting that I take the joint. And my buddy was just like, dude, you're making a big mistake. Don't give it to him. And he gave it to me, and phew, yeah. The guy is just like, don't. I warned him. It's not like I wanted to. It's like, dude, don't give it to me. Don't give it to me. So lasers, awesome. And that tour, that album. One of my favorite stories about Don't Fear the Reaper, we were really up close to the stage too. So it comes to the part where it's the breakdown right before the lead, where he's going do 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 do, and right before he kicks into the, Buck dropped his pick. And this is back before anybody like taped picks on the mic stands or anything. There was no pick to be had. And so he's kind of like, crap, what do I do? And so we tried playing it without a pick, and it was pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
But bless his heart, man.
Bless his pea picking heart.
Yeah, he tried.
Yeah. So
Bless
there you
him,
go.
he tried.
It is a fortune.
Number 6, Joseph.
So in conclusion, lasers, awesome. Debbie Denise, not awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I completely echo your sentiments, Brad, with looking at people sometimes at concerts and like, why are you even here?
Right.
When a couple months ago, when I was at Kix's farewell show, I was out on the lawn and everyone was having an amazing time. And right next to me was some dude who, before the opening band even came out, was just doing shot after shot after shot and was passed out in his lawn chair for the entire show.
Yeah,
you are literally at Kix's farewell show and you are passed out.
Yeah. Isn't that something you want to remember, dude? Like watch and I don't get like why people get like so shit faced like that, dude.
No.
It's happened to me like once and twice, and I vowed never to do it again. And I did it, man. I I'll have a beer or two or whatever. I'll get nice or whatever, but damn, I want to sit there and watch the band and remember the show. You know what I mean? So
especially with ticket prices these days, you're paying all that money for concert tickets, and what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, alcohol's expensive at those shows.
Oh
These
yeah,
people are dropping $200 or $300 easily.
Oh yeah, and I just see people spilling their beers everywhere. I'm like, you just paid $18 for that beer. What are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
But anyway, my number 6.
And then
bringing
who
up
drives these people home?
Exactly. But my number 6, speaking of this fantastic live album, is the debut. If we did this, say 7 or 8 months ago before this album came out, this would have been a lot lower on my list. I think that this live album has really given me a new appreciation for the debut. I think this is definitely a Kiss debut album situation where I think that the songs are infinitely better live. I think that this is actually, to me, this is a much better debut album than Kiss's debut album. Kiss's debut album isn't even in my top 15 Kiss albums. Well, maybe top 15, not my top 10.
Well, but I do like the Kiss debut album better than the BLC one.
Oh, okay.
And
I like this one a lot more than Kiss debut album. This still works as an album. I don't think Kiss's debut album worked as an album.
Wow.
I think that every song that they did on that album was infinitely better.
That's another podcast, isn't it?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you guys did so many great songs on here. I mean, their first kind of big song, Cities on Flame, just so many other great songs. Then came The Last Days of May, Before the Kiss of Red Cap, Stairway to the Stars, Transmaniacon, just so many great songs on here. I mean, even a song like She's as Beautiful as a Foot works because it's Blue Oyster Cult. I mean, it's just it works.
It's so much better live though, isn't it?
It is. And again, I implore anyone, before Frontiers gets all of you, go out and buy this. It is insanely good. You get the full first album plus an entire second set of stuff from Symbol Remains, of some deep cuts, They do In Thee, they do Harvest Moon, they do Dancing in the Ruins. They do so many great deep cuts on this. And the more people buy this, the quicker they're going to release the second and third nights, because I want to see those. Please buy these. They're going to release them anyway, but they'll release them quicker if more people buy this. So please do yourself a favor and buy this, because I really, really, really want to see Tyranny and Mutations and Secret Treaties live.
Please do it for Joseph.
Do it for me. Do it for a poor sick child.
I'll do it for you.
I'll put a call into Buck for you.
Thank you. Use those connections, Al. Use those connections.
Well, I am really great friends with his daughter, so
yeah. No, that was an amazing when you told that story before. That was great.
Yeah. So, Danny, if you're watching, how are you? I love you. You're awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
All right,
Who's
number
next?
six.
Travis.
All right. Number 6, Mirrors.
Hmm.
I fucking love this album.
All
I
right.
know that people are split on this one, but here's the number one reason why this is high on my list. The Vigil is my favorite Blue Oyster Cult song
Great
ever.
pick.
It's amazing. Dr. Music, love that jam. Love it, love it, love it. I love Indeed. I love The Great Sun Jester. I love Moon Crazy. I know a lot of people don't like that one. I fucking love that song. I love the title track. I love I Am the Storm. And that's when the album ends for me after I Am the Storm. But, and I love the album cover too. You know, it's one of my favorite summertime albums to listen to. I don't know, it just fits
You
with
don't
me
you
when
don't
it comes
you don't
to
like
summertime.
you don't like Lonely Teardrops?
No way.
Oh, it's a good song.
That's an amazing closer.
Yep.
Man, I can understand not liking the Cars ripoff, but Lonely Teardrops, man.
It's a great song.
Well, you know, maybe I'll revisit it and give it another shot.
Yeah.
Moon Crazy rules.
All right, Al, what's your number 6?
Number 6 going with Cultosaurus Erectus. Love this album. I mean, again, and it's kind of these albums could shuffle up and down. So, Black Blade, you know, come on.
Oh,
It's fucking,
so good.
I mean, whenever, like, you know, I'd hear that live, man, I would fucking freak out, you know.
Yep.
I mean, you guys, some of you already touched on it anyway, so I'm not going to dwell on it. I want the show to go along, but that's going to be my number 6, man, Cultosaurus, and produced by the great Martin Birch. After the poppy, you know, Mirrors, you know, with what's his name? God damn it, Tom Werman. I always space on his name, and he was my producer when we did the producer show. Anyway, like Martin Birch gave them much more punch, you know.
Yep.
You know, because that's just his style. So, Cultosaurus Erectus, great comeback, great. They got heavier again, you know, after Mirrors. So,
yeah.
But that's my number 6.
Yeah, my number 6 is going to be along with Travis, the Poppy Mirrors. Y'all call it Poppy. I call it an album by Blue Oyster Cult that put in their quirkiness into this album. I really enjoyed the stuff that they started to do going into the 80s and their 80s stuff, where their music was very unpredictable. I mean, there was twists and turns everywhere you went. They stayed rock, but they added different elements into it. So that's what I think about Mirrors, and I think it's fantastic. So that's my number 6.
Cool.
Great
Number
one.
5, Brad.
Sphincters. I'm sorry. Yeah, another one when this first came out, and I of course ran to the store, bought it, dropped the needle on it, and the production was like so weak to me. You know, the songs didn't have the punch again that I wanted. But Godzilla I thought was kind of goofy, but I love that song. I love it so much now. Again, after seeing it live. Golden Age of Leather I thought was corny with the intro, but I love that song now. Death Valley Nights that's a fun song to play. Searching for Celine, that's an Alan Air song. And I think that's the first time. Is that the first time he sang on it? I think it's the first time he sang on it. Fireworks I thought was awful. Sorry, Al. Not Al here, but Al Bouchard. I thought Fireworks was awful. Are You Ready to Rock? I thought was just outstanding. I love playing that song too. Especially the Queen, okay. Going Through the Motions, okay. Even though the great Ian Hunter co-wrote that with Eric Bloom, which I think is fantastic. And,
really? I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Eric made a big deal about how he had a trouble not singing it with a British accent when they played it live. And it was so much better live too. I don't know if there's a live recording of it out there, but it was actually pretty good live. I Love the Night is a song. I don't know why they don't play that more, since Buck does more vocals now than he used to. That's an interesting thing too. When I first saw them, Eric was the singer. I mean, he basically, like first half of the concert, it was all him singing. And then in the middle, they do the songs, one song that each of the other guys sang. And then go back to Eric singing the rest of the concert. And that's obviously changed a lot now. Eric's voice went through a lot of problems. He has times sounding pretty good now, but I'm going to give this just Nosferatu. That is such a great song and great live. Luckily, they didn't play it very much live, and I got to see them play it live. So great album. There you go, Spectres.
Number 5, Joe.
All right. So much like everyone has been saying, I have not talked about it yet, but as everyone's kind of saying, Cultosaurus Erectus was a step in the right direction after Mirrors. Spectres is a step in the right direction, in my opinion, after Agents of Fortune. I think this is a stronger overall album. I think it's a more cohesive overall album. I think there's so many amazing, amazing songs on this album. Like Brad was just saying, I mean, any album that opens up with Godzilla, it's going to be a great album. Godzilla, Golden Age of Leather, and then you get into stuff like Death Valley Nights, Are You Ready to Rock? And personally, one of my all-time favorite Blue Oyster Cult songs, I Love the Night. What a just absolutely, it captures that vibe. And one of the things that, one of my favorite quotes that Ian Wadley had in the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast's episode about Blue Oyster Cult, he said, Mirrors, as much as it's as great of an album it is, Mirrors is a daytime album. Mirrors is the light era album. The Blue Oyster Cult is a nighttime band. That was a daytime album from a nighttime band, and nothing captures that vibe like I Love the Night. And then going into Nosferatu to end the album. I mean, just what a great, the order of tracks on this album I think works really well. There's a couple that I'm not as big on. Searching for Celine is okay. Celestial the Queen is pretty good. But, I mean, there's just so many really, really strong tracks on this album. And I really enjoy the production. I think it's a good production. I think it sounds better than some of their other albums to me. I think that there's definitely some albums that we'll get to here in a little bit that I think have better production. But I think that they did a good job with this one production-wise. I think it sounds good.
Yeah. One of our listeners, Trunkin Junkie, wants to know, in y'all's opinion, what's the best live Blue Oyster Cult album?
I think the latest one, honestly.
Ooh.
The latest one?
Yeah, I think Joseph has it. Although I think the production on that album is just weird as hell.
It is.
But the performances, are just beyond. I think
the only thing that would make this album even better if it was a triple live album instead of a double live album.
I agree 100% because there was
Some Enchanted Evening, another amazing song. Amazing album.
I was going to say Some Enchanted Evening, but
see, that's the problem with this one is that it was only a single album.
Exactly.
Yeah, but this is an expanded version of it.
There is an expanded version, yes.
And that's probably what's available now. So this one sounds better.
And just to throw it in, because it's another great live album, is Extraterrestrial Live.
Yeah.
Great live album that features some of their later stuff. Some of it features the original lineup. Some of it does not feature Al on drums.
There's only 2 songs that Al plays on, and Black Blade's one of them, which is the best.
Black Blade's one of them, which
I really had a problem with Rick Downey's drumming, but that's another podcast. I didn't like his drumming. I didn't like what he did with the songs.
That show, real quick, that show that I saw them when they played with UFO was the very last show that Bobby Rondinelli played drums with them.
Bobby was really good in BOC. Really good.
And then that was his very last show. They announced that was the last show he was doing with them. And then that was it. So I saw Bobby's last show with BOC in New Jersey.
All right, Travis, number 5.
All right, number 5, Secret Treaties. Again, a masterpiece. I love every song on this album. I even love KG Cretans. It starts out with Career of Evil with those Ray Manzarek type organ playing. Oh my God. I love that song. I love dominance and submission. Dominance. Jeez.
Submission.
Subhuman.
Yeah.
Harvester of eyes going right into flaming telepaths. Are you kidding me? And then it just the crescendo of astronomy. And fuck you, Metallica, for covering that song.
Right in the ass. Right in the ass.
You have no business covering that song, Metallica. Shame. Go cover more Diamond Head. That's my number 5.
All right, man. My number 5, I'm going with Ages of Fortune. Again, like, this could flip flop with my middle of the pack 10 albums here. But this ain't the Summer of Love. ETI, reason it's a little higher is ETI is one of my all-time favorite BOC songs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Great
really
track.
up there. It's in my top 10.
It's best song on this album.
Yeah. And I used to play it live with the band that I was in, which I fucking I had so much fun playing that song, man. It was just so cool, man. I was the one that started it off, so I had that weird. I didn't have a talk box, so I would just use my wah-wah pedal to kind of mimic the beginning of the song, the guitar and stuff. So I didn't play the lead though. I just played the rhythm, and my co-bandmate was much more accomplished lead player than I was. So, but yeah, I had a ton of fun playing that song. ETI, one of my favorites. So, Ages of Fortune is my number 5.
Yeah, it's really difficult to play Buck's leads. They're so weird.
Yeah.
Trying to copy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only knew one guy that could do it. So
very underrated player.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, my number 5 is an album that surprised me that it made it this high, and really made it up on here at all. And I'm talking about Imaginos.
Oh wow!
Imaginos is a fantastic album. It's so much fun to listen.
I'll hold it up for you.
Yeah, thank you. It's so much fun to listen to. The guitar work on it is just brings new life to what they were releasing before that. It sounds fresh to me, and it's a really good album. I think it's a hidden gem in their discography during the time that not that many people were listening to them at that time, is what I'm guessing. And so that's what I'm going to go with as my number 5 is Imaginos.
Cool.
So thanks a lot for talking about it, y'all, because I found out a little bit more about it. Number 4.
Fire of Unknown Origin. This album, again, the second one done by Martin Birch. Yeah. This is such a great album. It's so complete. And I know I'm hoping everybody's still going to put that on their list. Wait, Joseph, is this one of the ones you don't like?
Oh God, no. No,
okay.
God, it's coming up. Don't worry.
I was about to delete you from my phone.
If Joe didn't like this album, I think I would ban him from future shows.
There you go. Thank you.
I won't be that harsh, Joe. I'll let you be on.
I'm joking, man.
Yeah, this is when they did this.
I'd ban me too.
Yeah, when they did this album, that was when the movie Heavy Metal was being done, and they were given the script, and so they wrote a bunch of songs they were trying to get on there. Soul Survivor,
Veteran of Psychic Wars.
Yeah, Vengeance, Veteran of, but that was Michael Moorcock of Hawkwind that co-wrote that with Eric Bloom.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkwind. No, I lied. Michael Moorcock was in a Hawkwind. What am I saying? He's an author. God, what an idiot. That was a stupid thing. But didn't he do stuff with Hawkwind too? Maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I knew he was an author.
Strike that from the record, okay?
Duly stricken.
Yeah, great sound.
He has contributed to the Music Acts Hawkwind, Glorious Occult, Robert Calvert, and Spirit.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Put it back on the record then. I was not wrong about Michael Moorcock being involved with Hawkwind.
I will not edit this episode.
Thank you.
I've never edited anything before in my life.
It's live anyway, so
yeah.
Yeah, so when the needle dropped on this one and you got the song Fire of Unknown Origin with the drums, oh yeah, I was all in right there. And then the bass line in that is just outstanding. God, what a great song. Never got. I don't think I've ever heard him do it live though. Unfortunately. Anyway, there you go. That's it. That's number 4.
Number 4.
Well, Brad, you're better than me. The only reason I know Hawkwind is because of that bassist with the warts.
Oh yeah, let me.
All right, so my number 4 is the only album where they were not credited as Blue Oyster Cult. They were credited as the Blue Oyster Cult.
Oh,
Tyranny and Mutation. Oh, what an album! I mean, this took everything they did right on their debut album and just ramped it up. I mean,
guitars.
Red and the Black, Hot Rails to Hell, OD'd on Life Itself, 7 Screaming Disbusters. And that's just side 1.
Chock full.
That's side 1.
Yeah.
Side 2, I mean, Wings Wetted Down. What a track. Mistress of the Salmon Salt. And I even like Baby Ice Dog and Teen Archer. I think this is, from front to back, a perfect album.
Heck yeah.
Let's put it this way. In my top 4 albums, there's only one song I don't like on any of these albums.
Oh, wow.
So you're getting into rare air here. It's a perfect album, and it's just a step up in every way from their debut album for me.
Yeah, I think that was a major step for them as well. All right. Travis, what's your number 4?
Number 4 is the popular one, Agents of Fortune. Now let's get something out of the way. True Confession sucks. It sounds like a bad 70s sitcom theme. Terrible. Debbie Denise, it's half-baked, unlike me, which I'm fully baked right now. This Ain't the Summer of Love. I do love that song, but that should not have started the album. It should have started with Don't Fear the Reaper. ETI rules. Tattooed Vampire rules. I was really weird about the opening of Tattooed Vampire with the it sounds like a washboard at full speed. I love that song, Sinful Love. That's the dark horse to me, along with Tenderloin. Sinful Love. I love your sin, but I ain't your pigeon. I love that chorus so much.
Mm-hmm.
The Tenderloin, Morning Final, and of course, Don't Fear the Reaper. I never get tired of that song. And unfortunately, that's the only DOC album I own on vinyl because my record store, for some reason, does not have any DOC albums, which shame on them. So hopefully I get more vinyl from DOC in the future. So that's my number 4, Agents of Fortune.
Funny about, when I was a little kid and I used to hear Don't Fear the Reaper, I always thought that was the Beatles. I don't know why, dude. I just, like, as a little kid, I just thought that song was by the Beatles. It's very, with the harmonies and everything, it's very Beatlesque. So I thought, come to find out later, it's not the Beatles. I'm like, what? I thought that was a Beatles song. But anyway, when I got smarter, which is not much smarter, but anyway. So my number 4, I'm going with Fire of Unknown Origin. Here's the tour book of that.
Ooh,
look at that, signed by Buck right there.
Get out.
See that?
Nice.
Right over Buck there. Yeah. My wonderful friend Steve and co-bandmate, he gave this to me, and
that's cool.
And I had Buck sign it. Check it out, man. I mean, this is just great.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Look at this one, man. When they were playing stadiums and shit.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's just crazy, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I got the tour book signed by Buck, which I love it, man. And that's gonna be my number 4. I'm not gonna go through those songs. You guys know it's a classic, but Veteran of Psychic Wars, love that one. I remember when the heavy metal movie, man, had that song in there, and I was like, wow, dude, it kind of fit in well with the theme and shit. So
well, with that era, yeah.
And of course the big hit, Burning for You.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, Blue Oyster Cult was not a one-hit wonder. They were a 3-hit wonder. 3 hits. And dude, many bands would kill for that. So it's probably paying the bills. So anyway, that's my number 4.
But 3 songs that could not sound more different.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, Andy, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, my number 4 is going to be Agents of Fortune.
There you go.
Is my number 4. When I first heard this album, it kind of took me aback because it wasn't what I was expecting. Because just like Brad was saying, don't fear the Reapers on here. Before I bought this album, I had already known that song backwards and forwards, and then when I got it, I was like, oh, that's weird. But then when you start to get used to Blue Oyster Cult, you're expecting to hear not the norm. You're expecting to hear stuff that's off center. So my number 4 is going to be Agents of Misfortune. Right? Yeah. No,
Great one.
Agents of Fortune.
Not Misfortune. Sorry about that.
Somebody has this thing called Agents of Misfortune, though. And I can't think of the band right now. But there is a band that has it's either a song, I don't know if it's an album, but it's a song. I think it's called Agents of Misfortune.
That's who I was talking about. No, I don't know who that is.
Anyway, all right, man.
The other cool thing is, like, none of these albums, the album title are songs on the album, except for Mirrors. I guess Mirrors. Yeah, the rest of them are. Anyway, that was the 70s.
Oh,
Fire and an Origin has a title track.
I know what.
Yeah. That got into almost 80s. So
I know who Agents of Misfortune is. It was the name of one of Cliff Burton's early bands. When he had a band, and you could see they're playing in a high school auditorium.
Yeah.
It's 3 of them. It's him and the drummer that's in Faith. No. It was the guitar player in Faith No More, Jim Martin. Him and Jim Martin and some drummer or whatever. It was a 3-piece. And that was the name of the band, Agents of Misfortune. So, and I think he named it that because he was a big fan of BOC anyway. So, yeah. So anyway, back on track.
Pretty cool.
It was a Cliff Burton thing.
Cool. All right. So, look at that. It even looks like the album in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Columbia. Yeah. So this is number 3 for me. Sometimes I feel like just because of the whole first album weirdness, production and everything, like, maybe that's not such a great album, but holy crap, it is such a great album.
It is.
There's hardly anything on here that's not fun to play. It wins for me just for Stairway to the Stars. I love playing that song. I shouldn't be drinking while I do this. Is Mark still out there?
No, I don't think he is. Hey, but also I wanted to say, we're talking a lot about the production on these albums. These albums that y'all got on CD that like Brad has and Joseph, are these remastered in any way?
Yeah, this is.
Mm-hmm, yeah, they were originally remastered in like 01 or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's what all these.
Does it help?
Yeah,
a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, there's certain things that you can't fix.
Right. Yeah.
Just the sound of an album, or that they didn't want to change too much, because then you get into remix territory, and people hate that word.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So
I kind of feel like the charm of the band was the fact that their album sounded not like anything else. Like, what the hell are these guys doing? I don't know that Sandy Pearlman really knew anything about studio stuff.
No, Sandy Pearlman was a poet.
Yeah. He was so responsible for this band. But as far as
he was the guru.
Murray Krugman was involved in this, and he'd done things like Johnny Winter and some other Columbia stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, number 3, and this stuff live kills. Yeah, Cities on Flame with Al playing and singing. That's the way it should be. It still kind of bothers me when Eric sings it.
Al did come out and play that when I saw them last in when the Dictators opened up. Obviously he was there. So he said he came out and did that
on this too.
Fucking awesome. Yeah, there you go.
He plays on almost this entire thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but only drums on that. But yeah, when he had his moment midway through the show where he did Cities on Flame, it was unbelievable.
It felt weird with this, watching him not drum and watching him play guitar for most of the show. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, but it's cool that they included him.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
All right, what's
Alright.
your number 3, Joseph?
So my number 3, of course, it's in my top 3. Fire of Unknown Origin. I could not include Fire of Unknown Origin. Although a funny little thing, my all-time favorite Blue Oyster Cult song is on an album that's not in my top 10.
Huh. Wow.
Do we get to find out now what it is, or do we have to wait till the end?
I hate this album, but Take Me Away is my all-time favorite Blue Oyster Cult song.
It is a great song. I'm with you on that.
It is my all-time favorite Blue Oyster Cult song. The rest of this album is hot garbage.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a couple good tracks, but
again, the
literally
literally
you
putting drums on it.
Yep.
But back in the day, the Blue Oyster
Hope
Cult.
that's not Travis's number
Love
1.
that album.
Oops, spoilers. I'm joking.
Uh-oh.
No. This album infuriates me. How there's something as good as Take Me Away, and then everything else.
I have a little story about Take Me Away. Can I tell it real quick? It's short.
Yeah.
So, but who wrote that, Joseph?
Who did?
Oh, come on. You should know
I
this.
can't remember.
Okay. Aldo Nova.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
Yep. Aldo Nova, man. He these guys were struggling at this time writing decent songs. Even though they play Shooting Shark a lot because Buck sings it.
Yeah.
But why is the saxophone? You got freaking Buck Dharma in this band? Why are you having a saxophone solo? That makes no sense to me at all. I want to scream it from the roof.
There's only one time that a saxophone solo works in Blue Oyster Cult, and I'll talk about it in a little bit.
Okay. All right.
What was your story, Travis?
Oh, so last year when I was in Knoxville, Tennessee, I went to this kind of like makeshift haunted house that these people threw together, and it was like a mixture of UFO themed and like it's basically like slasher films. And I went inside one of the houses, and there was like a little radio, and all of a sudden, "Take Me Away" came on. I'm like, "Holy shit, Blue Oyster Cult, hell yeah!" And then the friends that I was with, they're like, "Huh? Who's that? Who are they?" I'm like, "I think I need to reevaluate my friendship with these people now."
Cool.
But anyway, yeah. But so my number 3. So anyway, my number 3 is Fire of Unknown Origin. Again, like the last one, perfect album from front to back. The title track, Better Than the Psychic Wars. I will never get tired of Burning for You. I will never get burned out on that song. It is an amazing track. There's so many other great stuff on here, like Vengeance the Pact and Heavy Metal, The Black and Silver, and Soul Survivor is one of my favorite songs on here. That's a great, great track. And then, of course, Joan Crawford has risen from the grave.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Go ahead, Travis.
All right, my number 3, I'm going to the first Blue Oyster Cult album I bought with my own money, the debut. I heard Cities on Flame with Rock and Roll when I was playing Guitar Hero 3, and I'm like, hell yeah. Gardens of Nocturne, Forbidden Delight, that's one of my favorite lyrics in any song. So I knew I had to get that album. And I went to Barnes & Noble, and luckily I found the debut, and I found Tyranny Mutation there too. So I bought both of them with my lawn cutting money, and took that home, put on the debut, Transmit Icon MC came on, and I was blown away, became a fan instantly. And of course, you got Then Came the Last Days of May. Man, one of my favorite ballads of all time. I love Screams, and I love how it segues into She Was Beautiful as a Foot. Shout out to my main man, Samuel Wetz, who I hope is watching this. He loves that song too. Great psychedelic rock at its best. And of course, Cities on Flame with Rock and Roll. One of the most important rock songs to me, even though it sounds a little bit like the Wizard from Black Sabbath.
That's what
that
they're known for.
Worship.
They were mandated that they needed to come up with something that sounded like Black Sabbath. So Al Bouchard came up with that riff.
It's a killer workshop of the telescopes, and I love Redeemed. Has a bit of a southern rock kind of thing, you know. It's kind of a. I would have liked to see Workshop of the Telescopes end the album, but yeah, you know what? You can't always get what you want. But it's just a great debut album. One of my favorite psychedelic stoner rock albums of all time. Love it.
All right, man. Well, my number 3, if you've been keeping, if you've been playing along, my only 3 albums left in my thing are the black and white albums. So, so my number 3, I'm going with the debut as well. I'm going with the debut at number 3. I mean, it's just classic. I mean, a lot of chock full of great songs. Again, you know, Joe points out the live versions, man, really killer. But I do love, man. I love the sound of the debut too, man. You know, so yeah, when I want to just fucking jam out, dude, I saw them play Then Came the Last Days of May, like, you know, a couple times. Great song.
Same.
Like every time.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a pretty much a mainstay in her set, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I saw them, the debut was what they played the most off of. They played Cities on Flame. They did Then Came the Last Days of May, and they did Before the Kiss.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, Cities on Flame, man. Seeing that with Albert, man, was really cool. So, you know. So that's going to be my number 3. I'm not going to dwell on it much longer. Go ahead, man. Andy.
Yeah, my number 3, y'all touched on it. It's going to be I'm sorry, there's something. Hey, Al, is your cat crying?
It was before. It was before, not anymore.
Okay, because I think it's yours or it's mine, but I don't know where mine is.
Yeah.
I'm like, where is
mine is now, yeah.
Okay.
He just came back in here, yeah.
Okay. Because that's where I just went. I went to go look for my cat because I thought it was my cat.
It's mine.
My number 3 is gonna be Fire of Unknown Origin. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Of course, the ever classic Burning for You. But man, Joan Crawford is just so creepy. Such a creepy track. It's kind of campy, and it suits the band perfectly. Yeah, so that's my that's my number 3. It's going to be Fire of Unknown Origin. I'll go ahead and just keep going because we've already all talked about that. I think everybody has. Number 2, Brad.
This was the first album I bought with my own money of Oyster Cults. I love the artwork on here, the pencil drawing the before and after shots. Yeah. So I was so into this. The ME262 jet on there. How cool is that? But again, these songs on record, not nearly as good as live. When I saw them live, it was like, holy crap. Career of Evil. The live version of Subhuman, unbelievable. Dominance Mission, ME2, yeah. There's not a bad song on here. Okay. Not a bad song on here.
See, but that's what I'm saying. They're so much better on their live recordings.
Yep. You're right. They're a better live band.
Because when
that's okay.
Because when they're
I'd rather be a better live band than a better studio band.
Yeah, exactly. Because like something's missing, you know, something's just not hitting on all cylinders, and I don't understand why.
It just seems like they're a band that was never captured correctly in the studio.
Yeah.
You know? So,
damn.
Just want, you know, like a lot of the early Cheap Trick albums too, but you know, I do love the production of like the first album. I think it's pretty fucking heavy, actually.
Oh,
Jack Douglas, man, he killed it on that debut. But you know, when Tom Werman came in, he kind of made it a little more radio friendly, you know, sound. I guess that was his style, you know.
Yep.
He wanted to get bands on the radio, so.
Hey, he was successful. What can you say?
He was, man.
Very, yeah.
See, I would say it kind of changes for me with Blue Oyster Cult. I think their early stuff is much better live, but when you get into stuff like Fire of Unknown Origin, that production is so amazing. Again, and I don't think any of the And I think it could have to do with the fact that Al left the band, but I don't think any of the live versions of the stuff off this album get even close to this album.
Yeah, I saw him on that tour with Al, and it was outstanding. But you're right. Once Al left the band, it just never. He was the glue, man. His drumming is incredible.
It could be just the fact that the versions I know are all off of ETL,
right? Yeah,
and so yeah.
I'm going to say also Martin Birch.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, Martin Birch.
He was the best producer they had, in all in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 2.
All right. And speaking of Martin Birch, if they think we're the devil, let's send them to hell.
Yeah.
Called Horus Erectus. What a comeback from an album that I love in Mirrors, but I mean, this is what you want to hear off Blue Oyster Cult. Just right from the beginning with my second favorite Blue Oyster Cult song, Black Blade. And the song that I mentioned, Brad, the only time that Blue Oyster Cult ever had a successful saxophone solo, Monsters.
Okay, I'll give you that. But
it comes out of nowhere, and it's just like, what is this? But it works. It's this little like
idea that was
this little like it's just such a heavy song, and then this little like, and now for a dance break. But it's just it comes out of nowhere. But it's so Blue Oyster Cult. It works. But Divine Wind, like I said, if you think we're the devil, we'll send them to hell.
Yeah.
Deadline. Marshall Plan is a little bit cheesy, but it's a great song.
Still great.
Of my top 4, the only song on any of those albums that I truly despise is Hungry Boys. God, that's a bad song. Oh, Hungry Boys, no. But the rest of the album, I mean, the way this album ends, Fallen Angel, Lips in the Hills, Unknown Tongue. What a great way to close that album out. I mean,
yep.
Only Blue Oyster Cult could write a song about putting your face in a woman's boobs and make it sound cool.
I know, it sounds pretty cool to me.
Lips in the Hills. What are you going to do?
I'm not arguing with that.
Nope. But then closing it out with Unknown Tongue, I mean, just such a cool, like, eerie song. Speak to me in many voices, make them sound like one. Oh, such a cool way to end the album. Love this album, even though there's a song I don't like. It's still my number 2. That just shows you how great the rest of the songs on this album are.
Yeah. You get that right. All right, Travis. Which way is number 2?
All right, number 2 is my favorite BOC album from the 70s. I'm talking about Spectres.
All right.
Yeah.
It kicks off with one of the greatest guitar riffs ever recorded, Godzilla, which our friend Ian Wadley, that's where he got the Wadzilla from. Love that tune. Love it, man. The Golden Age of Leather, Death Valley Nights, Fireworks, Searching for Celine. I Love the Night.
Great song.
If it's not my favorite ballad of all time, it's my number 2. It's a beautiful song. That song, when I'm like taking a walk by the Intercoastal at night, I love to play I Love the Night. It just fits the mood, and Nosferatu. What a way to end the album. What a way to end the album. That song just puts like a movie in your head. The lyrics just write the scripts. It's an amazing song. I love it. And it's a perfect album. So Spectres is my number 2. And while you guys go over this, I'm actually going to be gone for a couple minutes. I got to go take care of something, but I'll be right back.
All right.
Cool. Got it,
brother. All right, yeah.
Number 2, man. Second album in the black and white. Tyranny Mutation. It's my number 2, man. Run the Black, OD on Life Itself, Hot Rails to Hell. I mean, it's just chock full of fucking classics, man. You know, and I really like the production on this one too. You know, it's a definite step up from the debut, you know, in sound quality and everything. So, Tyranny Mutation, man. You know, which, you know, revisiting the album, I was like, dude, it's like there's not a clunker on here, man. You know, so that's my number 2, man. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, my number 2 is going to be Cotosaurus erectus.
There you go.
This is a great album. I absolutely love Monsters. I love
Cool.
the break in it. I think it's so weird. It's so Blue Oyster Culty. Um,
That's a
it
good way.
really is.
That's a good way to put it.
And Martin Birch is just great in his production work. You know, we
Yeah.
all love Martin with everything he's done with Maiden and Deep Purple, and then he puts his magic into Blue Oyster Cult. I mean, what more do you want? And Sabbath.
Sabbath,
I
yeah.
mean, he touched on all these great stuff. So that's going to be my number 2. And I want to thank Brad because he had talked about this like a couple of years ago, and I found it, and I
Cool.
found a very good copy of it. So I wanted to thank him
Nice.
for for mentioning it, and
Hey, you're
I
welcome.
was able to find it. And I was so excited. So thanks a lot, Brad, because this is a really good
You're
album by them, and
Yeah,
one that I listened to quite a bit.
I wish now that I'd kept all my vinyl. But it got to be a problem moving it around. Every time we moved, it was just like they're so
Oh,
damn
dude,
heavy.
it's so hard to move these
Yeah, it's
things.
so hard. But if I still had it, I would freely share it with you, give it to you guys because you appreciate it. Number 1, yeah, the red and the black, and I'm going to say number 1 because this is a guitar album. I mean, the guitars are up front, they're heavy. But even more so, I love the drumming on this album. Al was he's on fire on this thing. He's like shot out of a cannon, and his hi-hat work in here is just it's just incredible. So I just love it. And Al's right. Every song on here kicks ass, and it sounds great. And yeah, this is number 1. Number 1.
Awesome.
Great artwork too by Golic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I love this weird
really is.
stuff.
Yeah.
No, but I remember when right before I moved to this house, I was in an apartment, and Molly's coworker had hired some movers for us, which was very nice. But I had stacked all my albums in boxes, and I guess just a regular sized boxes. And when they walked into a room, they got these boxes. I mean, they were full. He's like, "What the hell?" Y'all are movers. Move them. And they were stacking those boxes. Please be careful. Please be careful. Please be careful.
Oh God, man, the move down here nearly killed me, man.
Oh man.
I am terrified. I mean, look behind me.
Yeah.
I am petrified when I have to move.
Joe, my advice to you: if you're gonna move, do it while you're young, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. My first move is going to be my last. That's going to be that.
Well,
I'm not.
This was the funny thing is like when we were originally gonna move from New Jersey, my wife was like, "Well, you want to move?" Because her biological father lives in Pennsylvania, so she was like originally she was like, "Well, we can move to Pennsylvania. You can work for another 10 years or whatever. Then we can move down." I'm like, "No, fuck that. If I'm doing the move, I'm doing the one move where I'll work down here and then I'll retire down here and I'm done, man. I don't have to go anywhere the fuck else, And I'm telling you,
Hey,
man, this move nearly killed me.
You should have moved to PA. We could have seen some shows together.
I know, dude. I know. If I did, man, I definitely would have, But
see, I'm glad for at least if I move, I already have most of my CDs in these carrier things. So.
Yeah, my wife has those too, man. So we had a lot of them.
I have like 15 of those things.
Anyway, let's go, man. What are we up to?
It is my number 1, and I'm glad to know that I'm going to be sharing this number 1 with one other person on this list, and that is the first Blue Oyster Cult album I ever heard, and that is Secret Treaties. What an album! I mean, just from start to finish, perfect album for me.
Yeah.
From Career Evil all the way through to Astronomy. Flaming Telepaths is one of my all-time favorite Blue Oyster Cult songs. Harvester of Eyes, Subhuman, even Cagey Cretins. I love that song. I mean, just Dominance and Submission, ME262. Everything on this album is just so freaking great. And this is the one that I cannot wait to hear
The live.
the live version.
Yep.
I am so ready. I am so ready because I've heard them do so many songs. I'm excited for Tyranny Mutation, but I've heard them do a lot of songs off that before. I really, really, really want to hear this.
Yeah.
I really want to hear this.
Cool.
Awesome, man.
All right, Travis, what's your number one, man?
Revolution by Night. I'm kidding. It's not a revolution.
Oh, yes.
It's Fire of Unknown Origin.
Well played, Travis.
Fire of Un- I mean, what? I mean, I love Spectres, but it's no Fire of Unknown Origin.
It's no Club Ninja. That's
It's
for sure.
not. You're right. It's not Club Ninja.
It kicks off with the title track, which is just amazing. To me, when Ian said that Blue Oyster Cult is a nighttime band, to me this is a nighttime album. Like if you're going for a ride, if it's like a drive at night down the desert road, you got to play this album, man. Then comes into Burning for You, which is one of the.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry, Travis. No, go ahead. Keep going.
Oh no, that's okay. It's one of the greatest FM rock songs of all time. One of the greatest classic rock songs ever. Burning for You is amazing. Great songwriting, just great composition. It's amazing. Soul Survivor. That's the song I thought I warmed up to when I first heard it. I thought it was all right, but then it grew on me like a fungus. It was amazing. After Dark and heavy metal, the Black and Silver. What a tune that is. So heavy and kick-ass. Joan Crawford has risen from the grave. I love the sound effects near the end. And then you hear like the Christina, Mother's Home. I love that part. It's so creepy. And it ends with Don't Turn Your Back, which I don't hear anybody talk about that song that much. That song is so great, and I can't think of any other way for that album to end. It's kind of like the end of a great movie with Don't Turn Your Back, just closing it out. It's a masterpiece, and it's one of my favorite albums of all time. So I love Fire of Unknown Origin. My number one.
Cool.
All right, man. I share this number one with Joe there. Secret Treaties, man. Yeah, I mean, there's not a clunker on this album. Again, like first three albums to me are perfect. It's weird. The first three Blue Oyster Cult albums are my favorites. It kind of parallels Kiss too, because for me, the first three Kiss albums are my favorites too. That was always my favorite era of Kiss, like that early stuff. But this, man, Secret Treaties, Dominance and Submission, Subhuman, God, man, Career of Evil. I mean, it's just amazing, dude. I mean, it's hearing these songs live, and I can't wait for that live thing to come out too, because I'm gonna snatch that up. So, before Frontiers fucking pulls the rug out.
Yep. That's my only thing is like they better release these before either A, people stop caring, which we'll always care, but or B, Frontiers just up and goes out of business because who knows what goes on over there in Italy.
I know. Anyway, that's my number one. Excuse me. Secret Treaties. All right, Andy, you're ending it off, man.
My number one is the first Blue Oyster Cult album I ever bought, and when I found this album, I had heard the hit songs by Blue Oyster Cult, of course. So I was familiar with them. I said, you know what, let me pick up this album, and it's still my favorite one.
Oh,
great album, man.
Yeah,
this just rocks from
right.
the end. And then when after I heard other albums after that, it's like, that's not what I was expecting, but then I got to really like them a lot because then I start to understand their quirkiness, their musicianship, their work on each album was different, and you just become a fan of theirs. But man, nothing like that first time of hearing this band's power, and that is off of this album. Awesome. And I never really noticed that it said the Blue Oyster Cult
Yeah,
until,
the Blue Oyster Cult, yeah.
until Joseph mentioned it.
Yeah.
And man, I just love the weirdness of that album cover. It's kind of like that Vertigo label, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, this was so good, and I still enjoy this album very, very much. From 1973,
Yeah.
Tyranny and Mutation. That's my number one. So thanks
Awesome.
a lot, guys, for being here, and thank you, Brad, for coming up with such a great topic. We really enjoyed it, especially having such great Blue Oyster Cult fans with us today.
Yeah.
Any parting words, Brad?
Yeah, it makes me happy that there's other people that share the love for this band that I do, because I have know very few people that like them as much as I do. So thank you guys for letting me be here with you.
Any excuse to dive into their catalog is good enough for me, man.
Yeah.
It
You know,
resparks.
here's what I find interesting, because usually when you talk about bands that have quite a career, at least my experience with other people is that people's favorite albums tend to be where they kind of jumped in to the career of the band. But you guys, for the most part, were drawn to the early stuff that I thought was fantastic. Of course, that's where I started.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool to see that you guys appreciate that as much as I do. So yeah, very, very, very cool. But yeah, the whole career, I love everything. I own everything they've done. I will continue to buy everything they do, and I'll continue to see them. I mean, there was a time probably about 10 years ago where I saw them about 3 times in a row where they did the exact same set, and it was pretty lackluster, and it was kind of just And I thought, man, I'm not going to go see him again. And then I saw him in Chicago right before, I don't know, it was 2018 or so. And they came out, started with Transmaniacon MC, and they pulled out all these really deep tracks. And it was really, really good. And of course, that's after Richie was in the band, not playing bass anymore. And you could tell his fingerprints were all over what they're doing. So Joseph said he's like the most important guy that wasn't in the original band, and I agree. Him and Sandy. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Any parting words, Joe?
Buy all of these albums. Buy all of them.
Buy them all.
They are such a great band that people need to know more about. All of these albums are worth your time and money.
Yeah.
This is a band that you need to listen to the albums. You know the hits.
Yep.
You're not going to understand this band unless you listen to these albums. They're such a band, whether it's live or in the studio. You get a good mix of both. You pick up these 5-album classic sets. You get the studio albums. You get the black and white albums. You get the later stuff. You get the live albums too. These are great bang for your buck. If you're trying to get into this band, pick up these 5-album classics or pick up the complete album collection. You can still get that.
Yes,
they do. These things are like $20 a piece. Like, seriously,
that's even better.
You get their 10 best albums. The only one I had to pick up separately is Spectres is not in there, but this is like $5. You can buy this for $5.
Yeah.
So for like $40, you can get their entire classic period.
Yeah.
Don't pass it up.
Why wouldn't
Do not pass it up.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you for that. Let people know how they can get it and how easily they can get it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Travis. You got any final words?
Just what Joseph said. Just check out Blue Oyster Cult. They are so underrated. To me, like I said in the last show, the 3 bands that I feel are so underrated from the 70s are Blue Oyster Cult, UFO, and Thin Lizzy. Just give Blue Oyster Cult a chance and stop listening to the FM radio. Go buy albums. Go support these bands.
We touched on that last week with the Thin Lizzy show. You know, you got to dive into the catalog to really let the hooks get into you, man. You know, it's the same way with POC, dude.
You can do the same with UFO. They got this nice box set right here.
So many fucking underrated, bands, dude, that deserve more love. So, All right, man. So next week we got, being that we're still on March the 3rd month of the year, I came up with the idea, 3rd albums by your favorite power trios. We're going to do top 10. So think of all your favorite power trios or 3-man bands, whatever, you want to think of their third albums and then rank them. So we're gonna do top 10. Make your brain think a little bit. So anybody who wants to get in on that, just let Andy know or me or whatever, and we'll do it, man. All right, so that's gonna be next week's show.
Yeah, I'm excited for that show. We were going to work on that last week, and then so I've already got all my albums set. I've already got them ranked. I got them ready to go. I'm excited for that one.
Should be a lot of really interesting picks on that one.
Yeah,
a lot of interesting picks, especially when you think of power trios or a 3-piece band, and you're like, oh, I like that album. You're like, but that's not their third.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't like their third that much.
I'm currently trying to scour my head for 3-piece bands.
It's got to be their third album, man.
Their third album.
So, think of all your favorite three-piece bands, list their third albums, and then pick a top 10 from them, and we'll do it next week. So
it's funny. The first two that popped into my head, I don't like their third album.
See, that's why it just kind of makes you think. It'll spark some thinking here. So
yeah.
I think I know what mine is.
Down all the 3-piece bands that they're down from the top of my head, and then I looked at the third albums, and suddenly I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Do I even have that? Yeah. So but if you really like, there could be some great third ones too, dude. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's a band that popped into my head that their most famous album is their third album.
Yeah.
But we'll save that for the show. Unless you don't want to be on it, it's up to you. But if you want to be on it,
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'll let let me and Randy know, any of you guys. So I'm gonna put the word out there. There's a friend of mine that might want to be on that show. So, and Butch might be back for that show too. I think.
Oh, that's awesome. All right.
He was expressing interest in that one, so I don't know. We'll see.
Cool.
Anyway,
I'll have to scour the annals of my brain to come up with 10 before I commit.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, that's it, man. Go ahead, Andy. Take us out, brother.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your expertise and love that y'all showed for Blue Oyster Cult. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, Brad. It's really good to go through a band and go through their discography. We find new things that we love from these bands. So tomorrow I'll be on the BS sessions. That's gonna be a fun one. And then Brad and I will start our baseball podcast on Tuesday, coming up next Tuesday.
Wow.
And also going into Holy Week next week. So I'm only doing 2 podcasts. I'm not doing anything after Wednesday. So
only doing 2 podcasts. That's funny.
Yeah, right.
Next week's a very busy week.
I'm cutting back.
Very busy week. So we'll see y'all next week here on Black Spinner Circle, where we'll be ranking the trio's third album. It's a really good topic by my co-host Al here. He really has topics that really make you think and dig into things. So that will be fun. So you guys take care of yourselves and keep on rocking and listen to Blue Oyster Cult. And we'll see y'all later. Thank you.
Right,
what's it like going to the bathroom up there, Travis?
Huh? What?
Out in space.
Out in space.
That's it. That was supposed to be the end of the show, Andy. Andy, you're supposed to cut it right there. That's the soundbite.
Have a good night, guys.
Go ahead and start to edit. Thank you, guys.
Cheers. Later.
Back.
Later.